We'll do it on both sides. Okay, now make sure that everything is 90 degrees. You might want to take a building square, set up on the fuselage, push down, and just start accelerating a spot or two. That's good. That whole side, keep pressing it down, making sure it's square. Now we'll do the back. I'm going to push down on it and you can see some of the glue starting to squeeze out again. Go ahead and squeeze it out and then spray it again. Make sure there's no drips. Remove it, make sure we're not stuck to the table. Now we can take the top half of the fuselage and we'll have to round off these little tabs again. Helps them get in there a little bit. Press them in. You want to look at it right down the fuselage and see it's a little bit crooked. You can straighten it up and just use your square and start from the front and work your way back, pushing it down, making sure it's a squeeze fit. It's foam. You'll squeeze it a little bit and you'll end up getting a tight fit. If there's a gap, you might be able to squeeze that gap out of there. So with just a little bit of pressure. Now I've glued the first, and I've glued about 4 inches on each side. I'm sighting down it. It's pressed down. I'll go ahead and spray both sides. Looks good. Then we'll go back, do the middle section maybe. And I can see it's kind of up in the back here. Press it down. Make sure the tabs are all lined up in the back. And spray it. And push it together. Making sure it's nice and square. It's good. Now we can glue the back half. Got a little bit of a run here. Get my paper towel and wipe it up. Perfect. Now we can go ahead and tape the rudder hinge. I'm going to put the tape right on the rudder itself. Across the whole thing. Half on the rudder, half over, ready to get on the vertical stabilizer there. We'll cut the top and the bottom, and I'll cut this little middle section out. Remove that guy. Roll up the tape. Now I'm going to work to line up that GeeBee. I want the graphics to line up on that at the top. The number. Looks good. The bottom lines up. Sometimes it's a little off at the bottom. You can pull the rudder down, stretch it, you know, 1/8 of it or 1/16 of an inch or something like that over the plane. Then we cut the slot for the horn. Make sure that tape is clear. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to glue all these areas where the wing meets the fuselage. there at the bottom and on the front and the back. And we'll glue along the wing and the top of the fuselage. Nice bead on both sides. Now I'm going to pull out the firewall pack. It's got the Z-bends in there for the control linkage. Also the heat shrink tubing for the control linkage. We're going to pull out these red pieces of balsa and the firewall. And you'll also notice on these, they're marked with an R and an L for right and left. That's for the thrust that's built into this. It's got some a degree and a half of right thrust. And you'll line up the firewall into its little slots there with that little arm side down. Check it for alignment. You can definitely see it's got right thrust built into it. 0 up and down thrust. Should be good. If not, you may have to sand it, but generally it's good. If all your tabs are lined up, everything else should give you a straight firewall, and it does on this one. So before I glue that firewall on, I'm going to take a drill and a countersinking bit, which looks like this, and I'm going to countersink the 4 bolt holes in the motor mount. And as you can see, they're not even punched out all the way on this one, but I'll take the cleanest side, whatever side looks the cleanest, and I'll put this right in the hole and just turn it on down and countersink those for the motor bolts that are also countersunk. And it doesn't take much. You just drop them in there about, that's a good 1/16 to 1/8 of an inch. And that side's going to go to the front. That's why we picked the cleanest side. We'll take our foam safe CA and I'm going to apply it to the foam in all 4 corners. And then I'll take my accelerator and spray the firewall. I'm going to drop the top in first, holding the bottom away, line it up, then line the bottom up quickly. Gotta do it quick. And then once it's lined up, you start pressing it down. There we go. Now we'll take our little balsa, we'll look for the right hand one here, and line it up with the, you'll see there's 2 different bevels, with the sharpest edge will go on the fuselage cross brace here. And it'll line up just like so with that firewall. And we'll glue that into place with foam safe CA. We'll apply it here, and here, and here. We're going to line it up on the firewall first, holding the back off just a little bit, and then drop it down. Wipe off any excess glue. Go ahead and hit it with some accelerator. Do the same with the other side. Test fit it first. Make sure there's no additional sanding that might need to be done. And this one's good. Like so. I'm holding it in with my thumb with a little bit of pressure, pulling toward the firewall and pushing down a little bit. Sure, a nice tight bond. Now I'm on the back side, in here where you can see the raw wood. I'm going to put a couple extra good drops between the firewall and the balsa wood here. I'm going to really fill that in. Even make a fillet of epoxy in there. Do something to really adhere it good there. I usually do 4 or 5 drops of the foam safe. Just make sure it's sealed up on the other side.